Okay, let's unpack this. Today, we're diving into a story that's, well, it's a stark reminder of how quickly trust can be weaponized in the digital age, especially when we're looking for connection.
Mhm.
We're drawing from a really intriguing YouTube transcript. It's from the Thai show Hon Kraise, and it lays bare just a shocking case of romance and financial deception.
It really does. It's quite the case study.
So our mission today is to pull out the crucial insights from this whole complex narrative, try to understand the intricate web of lies, and hopefully equip you with the knowledge to spot the red flags that, well, our subject sadly missed.
Yeah, understanding those flags is key.
So what does this all mean for you, the listener, navigating a world where relationships might just begin with a tap on a screen? Let's get into it.
It's truly a compelling look at human vulnerability and manipulation. We see a pattern here, a really common one,
Oh,
actually.
yeah. What's that?
Well, the swift buildup of trust online, right? Then this rapid escalation once they meet in person, and then the slow, kind of insidious drain of resources, money mostly.
That's a powerful pattern you've laid out right there. Okay, so our story begins with Fixu. She's a hardworking vendor, sells pomelos and water.
Right.
What's really striking about her getting into this is she said herself she'd never really dabbled in online dating before.
Unusual.
Yeah, she even called it bad luck or like a jackpot moment when she finally decided to try a Facebook dating group. And that's where she met Parami.
And it's what happens next, how Prami established this persona
Yeah.
that really stands out. Thix, who mentioned his profile, made him look noble and refined, trustworthy, kind-hearted, basically the perfect catch on paper.
Exactly. The ideal guy.
And then this initial impression, it's absolutely crucial. It kind of bypasses those natural defenses we might have when meeting someone new, right? It just lays the groundwork for everything that follows.
And what follows is, wow, a real turning point. After only 2 days of chatting,
Just 2 days.
he asked Fixu for 1,500 baht and the excuse. He claimed his bank account was frozen because of Pimripai's tax issues.
Such a specific, almost bizarre reason. Pimripai, the famous online seller.
Right. And Fixu, just trusting him already, she transferred the money. Just like that.
Right.
So, I mean, is it the amount or the excuse or just how soon he asked? What's the biggest red flag there? Or is it all of it together?
I think it's the combination, definitely.
Yeah.
But if I had to pinpoint one thing, it's the timing. That immediate request for money, especially with such an elaborate and frankly weird excuse.
Oh.
It's not just a classic tactic.
Yeah.
It's like the foundational boundary test in these scams. They're seeing what they can get away with early on.
Oh, yeah.
For our listeners, really always flag an early, unusual request for funds. It's almost always a probe to see how far you'll go, and the fact, as we learned later, that he used the same Pimripai tax excuse with others.
No way.
Yeah, including the person he rented his house from.
Mhm.
It just suggests a rehearsed scam script he uses over and over.
Unbelievable. It's incredible how quickly things sped up after that. After that initial money transfer, the relationship just took off. A whirlwind. Parami drove to meet Fixu in person, and she confirmed, yep, he looked just like his profile picture. Straight from the profile, she said.
Okay, so he wasn't catfishing in the visual sense, at least.
Right. But then, just 1 month later, he proposed. Marriage.
1 month. Wow.
Yeah. He even used this supposedly pre-existing auspicious date from a family member, making it seem like fate,
Yeah.
You mentioned rapid escalation earlier. How does that play into the scammer's strategy here?
Oh, that rapid escalation is absolutely designed to overwhelm and, frankly, disorient the victim.
Yeah.
It creates a sense of destiny, of urgency.
Right, like it's meant to be.
Exactly. And it makes the victim less likely to pause and really question how fast things are moving. Then come the grand promises you mentioned, 20 tables of Chinese food for the wedding.
Yeah, a live band, even a 10 million baht life insurance policy for Fixu, painting this picture of a secure, amazing future.
Precisely. It cements the emotional bond, but also the financial expectations. It's about building a future vision so grand you just don't want to look too closely at the details.
But the reality, like it so often is in these situations, was completely different. They did actually register their marriage, August 8th, 2567, so last year.
Okay, so they went through with the legal part.
They did. But that lavish wedding banquet never happened. Parami just brushed it off, said it was a waste of money.
Convenient.
And that 10 million baht life insurance policy, poof, vanished, never appeared. What's your take on that sudden shift? From huge promises to just dismissal?
Well, this is where those emotional promises start to crumble, and they get replaced by rationalizations that only serve the scammer. That shift from talking big about a wedding to suddenly calling it a waste of money, that should have been a massive red flag.
You'd think so.
But by then, the victim is often so deeply invested emotionally and financially, it's incredibly hard to step back or pull away. It's like the first major crack appearing in that perfect facade he built.
And the financial drain, that really kicked into high gear once Fixu moved in with Prami in Clon. He told her he owned the house.
Let me guess, he didn't.
Nope, just renting. And to make things even weirder, he introduced his niece, Pooh, and his nephew off as his household staff.
Staff.
Yeah, like housemaids and drivers, but they were just his actual family members living there. The sheer audacity of creating a whole fake household setup.
That is next level. The household staff facade, it adds another layer of deceit, doesn't it? Creates this illusion of wealth, this busy household, which then, of course, needs funding.
Needs funding from Fixu.
Exactly. It requires Fixu to cover the cost.
Yeah.
This isn't just about money. It's about building an entire fake reality around the victim, making it so hard for them to see what's really going on.
And Fixu became the main financier, pretty much the only financier. She covered everything. Food, coffee, rice, all the daily stuff. She was even paying Puyin off 200 baht each, daily, for their work as staff.
Wow. Paying his relatives to pretend to be staff.
Yeah, and Prami himself, he actually admitted brazenly that he'd used about 200,000 baht of Fixu's money in just that 1 month they were in Klong Klau.
200,000 baht in 1 month.
So, yeah.
Chilling is the right word. You just hear those numbers, and it's almost unbelievable how blatant it became.
It really makes you feel for Fixu, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. And that admission, it just highlights the scammer's complete lack of remorse, his open exploitation. If you connect this to the bigger picture, it shows how these guys often normalize their victims paying for everything.
Oh, so?
They make the victim feel like it's their responsibility, to maintain the lifestyle or support the business the scammer has fabricated. It's this gradual wearing down of boundaries where helping out turns into full financial takeover.
And those business ventures Prami kept cooking up, they were all total failures. And guess who paid?
Fixu, every time.
Every single time. Her own water products, the ones she sold, they just disappeared after she supplied them to him to sell. Then he had these grand ideas for selling pomelos, young coconuts. Consistently failed.
And let me guess, it was never his fault.
Never. He'd blame pests or market prices, external factors. But Fixu always fronted the initial costs. And guess what else made a comeback?
Oh no, not the Pimri Pai tax again.
Yep. The Pimri Pai tax excuse was used again for a 30,000 baht bat loan, which of course was also never repaid. This pattern must have been just incredibly frustrating and financially devastating.
It's a classic confidence trick, textbook stuff. This cycle of failed ventures, blaming outside forces, it's designed to keep the victim financially hooked without ever seeing a return.
Right.
Each failure is just presented as, oh, a temporary setback. We just need a little more money to overcome this latest unforeseen obstacle. It keeps that hope alive even as the money just vanishes.
So understandably, Fixu's suspicions started to grow. Prami constantly needed money, avoided any real work, and then there was this mysterious bag.
The bag.
Yeah. Prami always kept it super close, guarded it constantly, which led Fixu to believe it must contain hidden wealth, right? Like gold or maybe land deeds. It's almost like something from a movie, isn't it? The secret bag.
It really is. The bag becomes this physical symbol of the hidden truth. It represents what Fixu hopes is in there, that promise of wealth, security she was sold, versus the dark reality. It's that tiny glimmer of hope that can keep victims hanging on.
And here's where it gets dramatic. The crucial twist. After a big argument, Prami hid the bag. Fixu was so determined to find out what was inside. She actually traveled all the way back home to Mekong.
Okay.
But then she came back to Chiang Mai a week later, specifically to confront him and get a divorce. She waited until Prami's son came home, then she searched the house and found the bag upstairs on the second floor. So what was inside?
And what's really fascinating here is how the truth was literally locked away, but in plain sight all along. When Fixu finally got that bag open, instead of gold or deeds, she found multiple arrest warrants for Prami. She saw 2 herself, but later learned there were actually 3 or 4 outstanding.
Arrest warrants? Oh my God.
And court summons documents related to a 600,000 baht fraud lawsuit against him. It's just a gut-wrenching reveal, exposing the real man she married. Such a stark reminder, isn't it? Something feels off, trust your gut. Investigate. It can save you so much more harm.
Wow. Arrest warrants hidden in the bag he guarded so closely. And that lawsuit found in the bag. It was filed by the mother of someone called A, another victim.
Right.
This lawsuit was about a 600,000 baht honey business scam. Apparently, A believed Parami partly because a respected elder recommended him, but also because of Parami's tactic of showing photos.
Photos.
Yeah, photos of himself with important figures, including politicians like Narawat Saikuya, to seem credible and connected. This tactic, the name-dropping, the fake connections, it seems incredibly effective.
Oh, it is hugely powerful. It highlights the use of social proof and false authority. Parami leveraged these perceived connections to legitimate figures to gain trust. It's a really common tactic for more sophisticated scammers.
And did Narawat Saikuya actually know him well?
Well, Narawat Saikuya himself put out a statement. He confirmed knowing Nuk, which is Parami's nickname, maybe 15 years ago in Saichon, just as a local acquaintance. But he stated clearly, no close ties, no contact since then.
So Parami was totally misrepresenting their connection.
Absolutely. And it wasn't just A. Remember, a nurse also contacted Fixu later. Said she'd also been scammed by Parami, and he'd actually taken her car.
Took her car.
Yeah. So the web of deception was much wider than just Fixu, which is sadly typical for these repeat offenders.
Then things got even more complicated on the TV show itself. Parami's sister, Piri, she's a retired teacher, she came on and presented a completely conflicting story.
Right, the sister's appearance, that was something.
Yeah, there was this really heated exchange between Fixu and Piri. They directly contradicted each other on key details, like how Fixu and Parami even met. Piri claimed it was at Fixu's water shop. Fixu insisted it was the dating app, and arguments about how money from pomelo sales was handled. Just back and forth. What's going on there? Is that just denial from the sister, or is it more complex?
I think it showcases that painful clash between family loyalty and the truth. Because Piri did confirm some things. She confirmed Parami's money problems, the involvement of her own kids, often Pui, in his schemes.
She admitted her kids were involved.
She did. And she even admitted paying back 100,000 bin to A herself on Parami's behalf. She acknowledged the remaining 500,000 bet debt to A.
So she knew about the fraud.
It seemed so. But despite all that, her stance was basically, we love each other, we don't abandon each other. Even while Fixu is right there recounting Parami's lies and the fact he's on the run, it's a powerful example of how those personal family bonds can just clash head-on with moral or legal obligations. Creates impossible situations for family members caught in the middle.
And Piri even tried to suggest Fixu might have bipolar disorder.
Yes, she did make that claim. Fixu immediately refuted it, attributing her stress, quite understandably, to everything Parami had put her through.
Yeah, no kidding. It feels like a desperate attempt to shift blame, right? Deflect from her brother's actions.
It certainly feels like a way to try and defend a family member, even if it means undermining the victim's credibility and their lived experience. It's just another layer of the emotional manipulation Fixu faced, even after exposing him.
So where does that leave things now? As for the ending, it's still, well, it's not really resolved, is it?
Not at all. Fixu has persistently tried to get a divorce. She keeps traveling back to Chiang Mai for it.
But Parami.
He continuously avoids her. He's clearly afraid because of those outstanding warrants. He's basically disappeared. Uses a Myanmar SIM card, apparently. He's in hiding.
So the direct victims, Fixu and A, they're just left hanging.
Pretty much. The financial burden is still heavy. Fixu lost around 300,000 baht. A is still owed 500,000 baht. And the legal side, getting a divorce when one person is actively hiding from warrants. It just shows the long-lasting damage these scams cause, far beyond just the money lost initially. It's a wound that keeps bleeding, really.
Yeah. This whole deep dive into Fixu's story and hearing about A and the nurse too, it really brings home just how sophisticated these romance scam tactics can be. We've seen how someone who looks noble and refined online can weave this incredibly complex web of lies.
Using everything. Family members, fake business plans.
Even dropping names of politicians to build credibility, all to defraud people who are just looking for connection. If we connect this to the bigger picture, it really raises that question, doesn't it? In this age of digital connection, how do you balance that natural desire for trust, for connection, with the absolute need for critical verification?
It's a tough balance.
What's fascinating here isn't just the scammers' cunning, though. It's the devastating impact on the victims and also those really complicated family loyalties we saw with Piri. It makes you think. What specific questions should you maybe ask yourself? Or what information should you try to independently verify when someone in a brand new online relationship starts making those really grand promises? Or maybe ask for financial help, even a small amount, early on, something to mull over.